This is the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Further showers for many of us, particularly northern parts of the UK during the next 24 hours. Chilly in the north as well, in between any showers with clear spells about. Low pressure continues to drive weather systems into northern and southern parts of the country, with this weather front turning up during the evening, bringing a spell of more persistent wet weather into Wales initially, that turning heavy in places, and then it spills into the Midlands and other parts of the southern third of the UK. Further showers for northern England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. But in between the showers, there will be some clear spells, and under those clear skies, temperatures will fall into the low single figures in places. So a few chilly spots first thing Wednesday, the odd mist and fog patch as well, particularly for sheltered parts of northern and northeastern Scotland, where temperatures could dip down just below freezing in some of the most sheltered glens. Otherwise, it's 5 to 7 degrees first thing, and we've got these showers moving into western and central Scotland. Some flakes of wet snow over the hills. Northern Ireland also seeing some showers, particularly for the north and the west. But a decent spell of brighter and drier weather for North Wales and northern England from the word go. And we do see the rain across parts of South and East Wales, and the southwest tend to peel away with skies brightening here, but it just does move into the East Midlands, East Anglia and the southeast by the afternoon. A damp and gloomy afternoon here, 14 Celsius in London, 8 to 10 Celsius for parts of Scotland. Thursday starts off bright with, again, a few pockets of frost and fog, but it doesn't last long. We keep the sunny spells in the east, whilst the next system brings wetter weather into the west with an increasing wind, gales in exposed western parts. And it stays unsettled through Friday and the weekend. A lot of showers around, but in between some brighter spells and feeling a bit warmer.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, loads on the front pages. Can I just say there's a big story by omission? I was expecting every single national newspaper to go off on the story that an illegal Afghan migrant has allegedly killed one man and stabbed two others in an alleged attack anyway in London. And it is not all over the front pages. The Sun have decided to launch a gambling campaign. The Daily Express is saying that OAPs must be given a fair deal. There's a lot about the storm of the century. A bit of Prince Andrew as well, and apparently Rachel Reeves is still knackering the economy. So stay tuned.
It's the final week to see how you can become our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps four, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Hello and welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Well, it's made the front of a couple of front pages, but surprisingly not all. An Afghan national allegedly kills one man and stabs two more in London. A few questions, though, of course. Why is he really here in Britain? How was he given indefinite leave to remain? And crucially, why aren't all the British media covering it? Also, ignore the doom and gloom, insists Rachel Reeves, as the fiscal watchdog warns that she faces a £20 billion black hole in her budget. That's made one of the front pages. Plus, you are looking at live shots now as Nice descends on Kingston Harbour in Jamaica. It's been called the storm of the century. Now, this has actually made pretty much every front page. Hurricane Melissa has ripped through the Caribbean as it's crossed Jamaica. It's now heading towards Cuba. Hundreds of thousands of people have been forced to evacuate. I've got some new footage for you as well of the devastation that it's left behind also.
If we get this digital ID system working and the public being with us, that will be the bedrock of the modern state.
Well, this is all quite interesting. I'm looking forward to this. A bit sinister, a bit Bond villainy, shutting down the legacy state, launching a new state. That's the government's plan as they press ahead with their push for digital ID. And
Mrs. Farty, I like a woman with spirit.
Oh, do you? Is that what you like?
I do.
Oh, good.
Now, Sybil, that's enough.
Come on, then, give us a smile.
well, glowing tributes are pouring in on some of the front pages to Prunella Scales, the iconic Sybil from Fawlty Towers, who sadly died today at the age of 93. Well, joining us this evening, we've got writer and broadcaster Emma Trimble, we've got Labour councillor Sebastian Salek and GB News comedian Paul Cox. There was also a story that I should have told you about as well. Ed Miliband might have finally seen the light, everybody. Yes, Ed Miliband might finally have seen the light. Apparently he's acknowledging that wind power is not as reliable as we thought. Good day, that. And all the other newspapers are leading with a hurricane story. Now, though, it's your news.
Patrick, thank you, and good evening to you. Just after 11 o'clock, the top story tonight, British tourists are on lockdown as Hurricane Melissa, dubbed the storm of the century, is tearing across Jamaica, leaving catastrophic damage in its wake. The storm made landfall earlier with winds of 185 miles an hour. That is the strongest ever recorded on the island, flattening homes and cutting power to huge areas. Officials are warning of total building failures, landslides and around a metre of rain. That would be nearly double London's yearly rainfall in just 24 hours. Government ministers say Western Jamaica has already been devastated, with the Prime Minister there urging the world to help recovery efforts once the storm passes. Blasts and tank fire are shaking Gaza tonight as Israel launches some more airstrikes just hours after the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered what he called powerful attacks on Hamas. Israel says the strikes follow blatant violations of the ceasefire, claiming militants fired on its troops and handed over a coffin without remains of a new hostage. Hamas denies the accusations, saying Israel is fabricating false pretexts and blocking its efforts to recover the 13 remaining hostages still buried under rubble in Gaza. But in Washington, US Vice President J.D. Vance insists the ceasefire is holding, despite what he called little skirmishes here and there. The man arrested over a fatal triple stabbing in Uxbridge entered the UK in a lorry in 2020, the Home Office has confirmed. The 22-year-old Afghan national claimed asylum 2 years later and was granted leave to remain in 2022. But officials say he was not living in asylum accommodation, despite rumours circulating online. Police say a 49-year-old man was killed in the attack, while 2 others, a man and a 14-year-old boy, were injured in what they have said was a shocking and senseless act of violence. Officers, though, say the attack is not being treated as terrorism. And thousands of small boat migrants will be moved out of hotels and into former army barracks, with the first groups expected to move in by Christmas. The government has confirmed discussions are now underway for 2 sites, one in Scotland and another in the south of England, which could house up to 900 men. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says she's absolutely furious that hotels are still being used to house illegal arrivals. Those are the headlines for this evening. I'll be back with you tomorrow night. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Yes, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome along to Late Edition. Let's give you that first glimpse, shall we, of Wednesday's newspaper front pages. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Wednesday's tomorrow. The Independent. Reeves must raise income tax to fill a new gap in the budget. We'll definitely come back to that. The Metro. Terror as a 185-mile-per-hour hurricane hits. Pure fury they've gone for there. The iPaper, storm of the century, 185-mile-per-hour hurricane, which is bigger than Katrina. So lots of hurricane news. By the way, I'm going to get you some new pictures and videos of this as well, because when we were on air last time, in the last show, most of the internet was down in Jamaica, which is understandable, given everything that's going on over there. But we believe that has now started to come back online, so we should have some more info for you about how bad that hurricane has been. But the Daily Telegraph go for... Council's told to end 4-day weeks. They've also got Ed Miliband, wind power not as reliable as we thought, admits Miliband. The Guardian, Reeves vows to defy gloom after £20 billion budget blow. The Daily Mail, they go straight down the line, to be fair. Afghan held over murder of dog walker, came to the UK in a lorry. The Sun... Save our bets. The Sun have picked today to launch a campaign about gambling, specifically saving it. They say that Rachel Reeves has apparently got plans to attack millions of Britain's punters, whacking up taxes on betting by as much as 138%. Apparently they're calling for us to not do that. The Times, Labour to miss 1.5 million homes target. Daily Express, OAPs must be given a fair deal in the budget. I'm going to bring in my panel here now. I'm hoping that we might be able to play you a couple of little bits of footage as we talk of some of the incident that took place today. It is that devastating incident that the Mail front page is leading with, which is, of course, this Afghan asylum seeker who came in the back of a lorry in 2020, then was given indefinite leave to remain in 2022, is alleged to have gone on a stabbing spree, stabbing a man in his 40s, a 14-year-old boy, and then sadly killing a 49-year-old dog walker as well. One of the things, Paul, that I find quite interesting about this is that not every national newspaper has led on this.
No. I can't think why. Sebastian was saying in the break it's because they don't want to ruin the narrative, because Sebastian likes to build a left-wing narrative that protects these kind of people. That was what you were saying now, Sebastian, wasn't it?
So you might say Sebastian...
We're live now. You can't say stuff like that.
You might say Sebastian
People clip this stuff and put it on the internet. Take it out of context.
Taken away from him. Let him have
Sorry, Seb. The change on Seb's face was delicious. But no, in all seriousness, there is a reason that they don't do this, because it's under the guise of protecting us from what's going on. That's what they'll tell you, and by they, I mean left-leaning, liberal elite journalists that really don't want us to have anything that supports the narrative that this is dangerous for us in any way, because in order to admit that would sort of undermine everything that's been said for 10, 20, 30 years. God God forbid. So it's no surprise to probably anyone here, even Sebastian, I'm sure, that that's not being reported beyond GB News and the Mail and the Express and places like that. That we don't know, this is alleged, we don't know it was this guy, but this story keeps happening and happening and happening, and I'm afraid it's going to keep happening unless we start admitting it, Patrick.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a bit of detail on this. So they've gone for an Afghan who entered Britain illegally, was last night being questioned by detectives after a dog walker was stabbed to death. There's shocking video. We're not going to play you the incredibly graphic stuff. I've got a couple of things, though, that I think we are going to show you about this incident, which I believe that we can get for you. Let's see what we've got here. Yep, so that was the moment that the alleged attacker there was accosted, ultimately tasered and then taken away by police. The Daily Mail have got the detail here, which is that residents have told the Mail that it appeared that a fight broke out between the alleged knifeman and a 45-year-old who is potentially his landlord. The clash is then thought to have spilled out onto the street, and there was a dog walker who happened to be passing by, tried to intervene. Following some words with the attacker, was ultimately stabbed repeatedly. So that's what's in the Mail there. I do put it to you, Emma. You know, I do think that this evening most people at home with their families are talking about this incident, and less so things like gambling or the big storm.
I mean, the one story that's on most of them is the storm. I mean, the Eye, the Metro and the Independent have all gone with the storm. Like you say, I think people at home are going to be talking about this story. And I think you're right that one of the reasons perhaps why they've decided not to do this, maybe following Southport, although you would have thought that they would have learnt their lesson there, that people want information rather than to be denied it, and actually the public should be trusted with the truth. I imagine that many people waking up tomorrow morning and seeing what is in the papers will actually be quite annoyed to find out that this is not something that the newspaper editors consider to be front-page news across the board.
You know, look, it's an editorial decision at the end of the day, obviously, and I mean, the online outlets are at it as well. I mean, there's quite a big picture. I imagine many people might have, if you're active on X or those things, might have seen that picture of the BBC's website. But I mean, I've got it in front of me here, and you know, there is a very small section that just says "Man dies in triple stabbing as suspect arrested," which I think many people would argue doesn't necessarily tell the whole story when you compare that to what's on the front of the Daily Mail. Yeah, Seb, what's your view? I know we're taking quite a sideways look at it, and it is because ultimately we're skirting around any contempt of court issues here. However, the same rules do not necessarily apply when it comes to print media. So what do you make of the editorial decision to kind of go big on the storm versus what's happened in London earlier today? Yeah, I mean, I think this murder story is desperately, desperately sad. To see a man lose his life, to see others injured, really, really terrible. What I think is quite disrespectful to the dead and to his family is to seize this and to try and weaponise it to further a political message, and that's what I think the Mail is doing here, and I think that is why we're seeing the Mail report on this and maybe not some other outlets. Just let's hypothetically imagine this is an illegal immigrant. I don't know if it is, I don't know if it isn't, but let's just hypothetically imagine that's an illegal immigrant. That's not... First things first, that crime's not happening if they're not here. That illegal immigrant stopped from coming, that crime is not happening. We've got enough of our own crime, so there you go. You've solved the crime statistics straight away. But to say this is politicised is definitely obfuscating, unfortunately, Seb. I'm afraid to say. It's 100% obfuscating because we know at this point, given the track record of people that have been convicted of these crimes, that
all of these crimes wouldn't have been committed had they not have entered the country at all. We need to protect our people. To say this is politics means that only Labour care about it or only the Conservatives care about it. I don't know what the Lib Dems do. Have you seen what Ed Davey's been up to? No one knows what he's up to. But at the end of the day, to make this political means that we're not collectively owning the problem. The problem is owned by us all. And the only reason someone like Reform, for instance, will pick up on this and run with it for the rest of the week, this hasn't happened yet, but I bet my last quid that they will do, is because they're the only people that feel that they can do it. Labour will stand back and say, oh, we're not sure. They'll stand behind. What you're politically doing is correct, Seb. I don't think this is political, though. I think this is about protecting British people.
Well, go on. So, well, Sarah Lake, come back to all that, obviously. I mean, what about this do you think is political? You think it's pushing an anti-immigrant narrative?
Of course it is. Let me give you another hypothetical. What if this attacker was Swedish? It wouldn't be in any papers, because it would be completely unremarkable. There's no wider narrative to link it to.
I think it would be in every paper if he was Swedish, because it would be much, much easier to report, particularly if that Swedish person was white. If that Swedish person was white and they went round on a stabbing spree, it's so much easier to report than if they're non-white and if they're an illegal immigrant.
But that's completely uninteresting to the Mail.
I don't know if it is, actually. I think actually that's a trope. I think actually when we get to the end of this whole process, this madness that is multiculturalism, we're going to, whether we like it or not, thank the Mail, thank the Telegraph, thank the Express, and say thank you very much. The reason, God forbid, someone like Tommy Robinson can become so well known is because they are the only people that have said this is a problem. Hey, this is a problem. People like... I'm not defending Tommy Robinson here, by the way. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're criticising the Mail for noticing.
Tommy Robinson is amplified by the richest man in the world. That's how he's getting cut through. It's got nothing to do with any of this. This is quite simply one very bad person. What I don't want to see is other people who are coming here, seeking our help, or living here legally as Afghans, as many of them are, being tarred with this, because it's unfair on them.
OK. Emma, before we move on to another front page, what do you mean? Do you think there's a risk of politicising? What I will, again, be a pain to say at the moment is no one's actually been charged with anything yet, and if indeed they were, everything would still be alleged, so we don't want to turn into any dodgy territory there. But do you think there's a risk of politicising things?
Well, I think by the same measure you could argue that the decision not to cover the story is political. And I think from the perspective of the British public, whether you're somebody who is killed by somebody who's come here from abroad or not, and I'm not talking about this specific issue, I'm talking about the subject that is on everybody's minds, following incident after incident after incident, whether it is a stabbing, whether it is a rape, whether it is a child being molested. Everybody around the country is talking about that issue, and whether you're a victim of that or not is not dependent on what politics you hold. People are concerned about this because they're worried about their families, and so I think it is the duty of the press to report on the things that are important to the British public, and so I frankly am surprised that it would be an editorial decision not to cover this story.
Yeah, I mean, just around this office. So obviously you've been watching there that's the Daily Mail's front page on the screen there. So they have led with it. There is a sidebar about it on the Telegraph and a sidebar about it on the Times. That is it for the front pages when it comes to what I think for many people was the big story of the day. So interesting. Go on.
Well, as the guy that Mark White interviewed said, he was saying that 6 years ago, people wouldn't have been... everybody would have been talking about it, would have been this big thing. But now, because of, crime across the board, I think people are maybe just... it's not as horrifying to them. They're getting used to it, which is actually in itself more horrifying.
Maybe that's the sign. Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe some of them have decided to say, well, look, actually, this is not as unusual as perhaps it was. Let's leave that there for now. I'm conscious that we've only got a couple of minutes really before the break, and we've got some other stories to do later on. So I'm going to decide to just focus on the Times. Probably going to regret doing this, actually, but anyway. Just because they've got a couple of other stories there, but there was something that broke, or was breaking shortly before I came on air, which the Times have picked up on. Am I right in thinking that this Israel-Hamas ceasefire is now off? It appears that Israeli strikes in Gaza after Hamas been accused of attacks. So you're looking at me knowingly, Paul. What's
Oh, yeah, am I? I've really mastered that look, haven't I?
Yeah. You looked at me like, I'm going to solve the Middle East. Go on.
Well, I would do, but imagine if I did it right now.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing, isn't it? First of all, this is not entirely surprising that Hamas, for instance, haven't stuck to perhaps some of the rules of engagement when it came to the ceasefire, and therefore Israel under Netanyahu, of course, are going to respond, and they're going to respond in the harshest possible terms. We shouldn't lose track of the fact that actually getting the hostages released is still a huge success, but I do worry for the peace of the region all the time. Hamas are involved.
So Israel launched strikes on Gaza, well, it says last night, it's tomorrow's paper, so it's now, killing at least 9 people after claiming that Hamas had broken the terms of the US brokered ceasefire. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, ordered the resumption of hostilities less than 3 weeks after the truce came into effect. His office said following security consultations, the Prime Minister instructed the military to immediately carry out powerful strikes in the Gaza Strip. Emma, your views on this? Is this was this to be expected? Is it worrying?
I mean, it knocked me over with a feather if Hamas instigated the breaking of the ceasefire and didn't exactly follow the rules to the T. Am I right in thinking that not all of the hostages have yet been released?
I think they're claiming that there's something like the bodies of 13 that they say they can't get to, I think. That's why I think I heard that earlier on. And that they also returned, I think, a coffin that didn't have a body in it.
The thing is, I mean, I'm sure that there will be a lot of leftists who are celebrating this ceasefire breaking, given that they were all out protesting when it was announced. So, you know, Hamas don't want peace with Israel. They don't. And so any ceasefire was only ever going to be temporary.
OK, final word to you on this before we move on. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just look back a few weeks and there was so much hope, wasn't there? We thought we could be there, and clearly it seems to have broken whatever anybody's saying. I think we need more diplomacy from Trump, frankly. I'm not one to look to the US president for help in times of need, but he's a powerful man, and I'd like to see him do what he can here.
Yeah, I mean, if this has happened, I think I'm right to say it happened in maybe an hour or so before I came on air initially. I wasn't really aware of the full scale of it because I've been locked in this room. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this doesn't escalate and we go right back to where we started. But there we go. Look, lots more coming your way. We are going to be covering a little bit of this.
Darling, hold my hand. Nothing beats it. This is my idea of a holiday. I'm here at the site of the Rampion 2 wind farm.
Probably a holiday for his wife and kids as well, to be fair. Anyway, Ed Miliband is forced to admit wind power is not only less reliable, but will cost more. Ed's done the unthinkable. Thank you very much, Ed. Can you bring my bills down now, please? Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Sanitary products in the urinals. Joining me now is a diversity and inclusion facilitator, Katie John Went, who also manages to talk sense on this subject, which is a very rare gift, to be honest with you. Katie, what do you make of this story?
Well, you've set me up to fail now. I've got to talk sense. And it's a nonsense. It's a nonsense story in many respects. I mean, no harm's being caused. On the one hand, I would call this probably over-inclusivity, kind of well-meaningness gone too far, which then eventually does cause a backlash. And it's a backlash on people like me who are trans as well, because it just makes us obviously look a little ridiculous. But I understand where it came from. Some people, up until the the Supreme Court judgment have been going into toilets according to their acquired gender, their gender presentation, their gender identity, rather than their sex at birth, which does mean that trans men going into the men's loos may need a tampon. But the problem is, if a trans man were to actually press the button, immediately that means the trans guys just outed themselves, basically saying, look, I have some female needs. And it's not exactly going to be safe for that person in there anyway, nor kind of discreet or respectful or anything else. The better situation would be to place them in a unisex toilet, or the disabled as well. So if you know you've got a period, I would class a period as a disability in the moment in that sense. And absolutely, I don't think any disabled person would complain about them going in and using it. But the idea that it may cause, I don't know what my aforesaid is, that illegality and harassment, and that the men are suddenly going to feel at risk of harassment from these trans men on their raging periods. I mean, the risk of some people on their raging periods is another matter.
The People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, let's just round up some of the weather-related front pages, all right? Stay with me here. So, the Metro have gone off on the whopping great big hurricane. The I paper have gone off on the whopping great big hurricane. They're calling it the storm of the century. And there's a couple of others as well that have gone for it as well. The Independent. Let's just focus on I'll focus on the I, because it's probably got the most graphic picture, which is just a big hurricane. Storm of the century, 185 mile an hour winds. It's a hurricane bigger than Katrina. It's thundered into Jamaica. It's called Hurricane Melissa, which I think slightly takes the edge off how terrible this thing is. Here's a new clip for you of this hurricane. Right, so that is new footage for you. Again, we did cover it a little bit on my earlier show, but basically the internet went out in Jamaica, as you would expect, and we are now only for the first time starting to get some of this footage that you saw there, which was just cascades of water, wasn't it, just running through the street. I mean, you know, taking all comers, and again, you know, really just hope that everyone who could possibly get to higher ground did manage to get to higher ground. I think we've got another clip for you as well. Yeah, terrible stuff. I mean, it does seem pretty clear. I would have thought that there is going to be a death toll, and there's going to be huge amounts of reconstruction that's going to need to take place in Jamaica. It's on its way to Cuba, apparently, and because it's over the sea at the moment, the concern would be that it then regroups, as it were, and then hits Cuba just as hard as well. So the newspapers have gone big on it. I mean, aside from the fact that it's absolutely terrible, the weather sells on the front page of a newspaper. Weather sells. That's why we get the phrases like weather bomb. They've just happened to have picked one now that it's actually, I would argue, justified.
Yeah, I mean, I love a storm story, and I recently I went down the rabbit hole of looking into all of the old footage and stuff of Katrina, and I think people here in the UK, maybe because it's further away, it's far away in time, a lot has happened since, forget quite how bad it was. There were, in some of these big storms in the United States, there have literally been cases where people's houses uproot and float away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so dangerous, and many people lose their lives. And this is obviously like an extraordinarily severe storm. But I think it's like with all sort of disaster stuff, I think people kind of can't peel their eyes away. I think there's something inherently human about that.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, also, it's worth noting that there's kind of a couple of aspects to this. Anyone who's ever been to the Caribbean will know that some of the infrastructure is not necessarily the best. There are areas where you see with homes kind of made of corrugated iron, etc. And it's fair to say that they will not have survived this. The other aspect of the Caribbean, of course, is that there's large-scale British tourism there. So we will have Brits who've been caught up in this. It always makes me feel very lucky, though, Paul, that we live in a country where this kind of stuff doesn't happen. We don't have earthquakes, really. We don't have storms like this. We are quite lucky to be where we are, I think.
It's God's country, isn't it, Great Britain? That's why, Patrick. Let's stand up and sing the national anthem. Sebastian, come on. I'm trying to be funny because it can't really be irreverent about such a thing. You just don't know. I mean, that looks absolutely terrifying. I'll be honest, if I was on holiday there now, I'd be wishing I'd gone to the Isle of Wight. That looks absolutely terrifying.
I see that in the Jet 2 adverts.
And I really do wish every no, you don't. And I really do wish them all them well, and I hope there isn't too much loss of life. And undoubtedly there will be some, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a Category 5 storm. And it's the strongest to hit Jamaica since records began back in 1851. It's stronger than Hurricane Katrina, apparently. Again, it's sad. We're kind of... Whilst it's a slightly bizarre situation here, whilst it's on, like, 4 or 5 front pages, we're kind of behind the story, aren't we? Because we just don't know yet how bad this thing has been.
Yeah, and it's the nature of newspapers. They go to print and then the story moves on. And that's especially the case for natural disasters, which can get very bad very quickly. I think you were right to point to the British connection here. Lots of people go on holiday to Jamaica. Lots of people also have family there and have links to the country, so it will be a story that's relevant for many people here. My eye was drawn in the Metro to the storm chaser. What's his name? Josh Morgan, who's gone to Jamaica by the looks of things. He's a YouTuber and is just hunkering down, which seems to me an utterly insane thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just content for him, isn't it? It's mental. Do you know what? There's something very sinister about that, isn't it? I say that knowing that I will fully watch everything he produces because and enjoy every moment of it, except obviously the bad stuff. But there's a lot of human nature involved in this. First of all, there's the human tragedy, and there's Mother Nature herself. But there's also the fact that, from a distance, this stuff is incredibly interesting. This is why it's on the front pages. This is one of the reasons that we feel comfortable to talk about it, because a lot of people will look at that, particularly with time past, and we think back to, like, the tsunami of 2004 and Katrina, and I was talking in the break about the hurricane of '87. That was pretty damn serious, let me tell you. And we can talk about it now. There's been a bit of distance gone, but ultimately, between now and when you again report on this tomorrow, Patrick, there are going to be potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
We're in a bit of an unknown period of time here now, where things are going to become clearer over the course of the next few hours, because the hurricane, we think, has now kind of moved out. It's obviously still very windy in Jamaica, but it's not where it was at. So over the course of the next few hours, we're going to be getting the true extent of it. We hope it's as minimal as possible, although the early signs are not good. Just bringing it a bit closer to home, the Daily Telegraph's front page, wind power not as reliable as we thought, admits Miliband. The government has slashed forecast for the amount of electricity it expects wind farms to generate in a blow to Ed Miliband's net zero plans. Emma?
Well, I never. It's almost as if nobody had warned them. Maybe their various wind and solar power isn't terribly reliable in this country. I mean, who's seriously surprised by this? People have been saying for ages that even if you do have a lot of wind and solar power, you still need to have the normal, old-fashioned means of creating power in order to have it there as a backup when the solar power or the wind power doesn't work. And I mean, it seems that as always, Labour is coming into contact with reality in the end.
I always feel with this, we've really lost our way with the climate change issue, particularly with alarmism. So we talked earlier about journalism, we talked earlier about politicising. This is one thing that has been incredibly politicised. And thank goodness for good journalism, by the way, because it's papers like The Telegraph that continually put pressure on and prove undoubtedly that this is not the silver bullet to save us, that people like Ed Miliband, who's an absolute zealot on this stuff, is now being quite contrite and saying, well, perhaps it isn't everything we expected it to be. Of course it's not. Of course it's not.
Well, so there's quite a key line in this, I think. Industry sources claimed that developers had previously warned officials that estimates for power generation were unrealistic, but the government had stuck with them anyway. It's quite a damning line.
Well, we have to ask ourselves, what are you going to do as a result? Are you just going to give up? Are you just going to scrap any form of renewable energy? We've just talked about an 185-mile-per-hour hurricane, which meteorologists at Reading University are saying is exacerbated by climate change. We have to take this stuff incredibly seriously. Look, bills are important, but what's even more important, having a planet to live on.
I just talked about politicising this issue, and that's exactly what you did, Seb. This has just been politicised just in the last few seconds. It is
we're talking about the planet burning, mate.
We are.
There's nothing political about that.
and part of me
or it's not.
Can I just be honest? Part of me wants it to burn and burn bad. But people will jump on this. They will see this, and the climate alarmism, which I was talking about, this gets them very excited. And unfortunately, it goes away and it comes back, and it goes away and it comes back. You've got to have a smorgasbord of energy solutions. You can't have wind or Ed Miliband. Of course.
I'm not suggesting we run the country on 100% wind. Yeah, there's a lot of it on the set tonight.
Shots fired.
But it has to be a valid and relevant part of the mix. More so than it is now. We can't be drilling in the North Sea forever. It's going to run out very, very quickly.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Miliband does about it. Well, I suspect nothing, but we'll see what he does.
One of the things mentioned in this article is that the turbine's efficiency can be affected by a variety of factors, including wind theft.
Yeah, weird. That what is wind?
Wind theft.
From other nearby wind farms. So
stealing the wind.
Wow.
Farmers getting into fights.
That's my wind.
But surely the wind farm that's blocking the other wind farm gets the wind, which we use.
The early wind farm catches the wind.
So I'm taking it to France. You know what I mean?
There's only one wind, Patrick.
Wind, isn't anyway. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not an expert. Clearly.
And also, isn't the idea that it's not a finite? There's not a finite supply. There's plenty of wind to go around.
I don't know. As I've rightly said, there's plenty of it on this panel this evening. Right. Coming up, bit of this.
If we get this digital ID system working and the public being with us, that will be the bedrock of the modern state.
Yes, so shutting down the legacy state. Apparently the government wants to press ahead regardless with their digital ID push. So have a look at that when we come back.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Further showers for many of us, particularly northern parts of the UK during the next 24 hours. Chilly in the north as well, in between any showers with clear spells about. Low pressure continues to drive weather systems into northern and southern parts of the country, with this weather front turning up during the evening, bringing a spell of more persistent wet weather into Wales initially, that turning heavy in places, and then it spills into the Midlands and other parts of the southern third of the UK. Further showers for northern England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. But in between the showers, there will be some clear spells, and under those clear skies, temperatures will fall into the low single figures in places. So a few chilly spots first thing Wednesday. The odd mist and fog patch as well, particularly for sheltered parts of northern and northeastern Scotland, where temperatures could dip down just below freezing in some of the most sheltered glens. Otherwise, it's 5 to 7 degrees first thing, and we've got these showers moving into western and central Scotland. Some flakes of wet snow over the hills. Northern Ireland also seeing some showers, particularly for the north and the west. But a decent spell of brighter and drier weather for North Wales and northern England from the word go. And we do see the rain across parts of South and East Wales, and the southwest tend to peel away with skies brightening here, but it just does move into the East Midlands, East Anglia and the southeast by the afternoon. A damp and gloomy afternoon here. 14 Celsius in London, 8 to 10 Celsius for parts of Scotland. Thursday starts off bright with, again, a few pockets of frost and fog, but it doesn't last long. We keep the sunny spells in the east, whilst the next system brings wetter weather into the west with an increasing wind, gales in exposed western parts. And it stays unsettled through Friday and the weekend. A lot of showers around, but in between some brighter spells and feeling a bit warmer.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
All right, well, welcome back to Late Edition. We've taken you through a lot of the front pages here. There is a story that's what you would describe as a little nib, which is a smaller story on one of the papers, and it's to do with digital ID. So Darren Jones has told the Cabinet this morning that apparently Labour needs to, quote, shut down the legacy state, build a new one in its place. Mr Jones, who is both the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister and the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, has been put in charge of driving through the digital ID scheme announced by Sir Keir Starmer last month. Sir Keir originally sold the scheme as a measure to crack down on illegal immigration, with digital ID only being mandatory for right-to-work checks. But it's also expected to have wider implications, acting as some kind of gateway to a range of government services and the foundation of a complete overhaul of the state, apparently. I don't really know what any of that means, though, the complete overhaul of the... What is... Does anyone know what that means?
No.
Chinese social credit system, I reckon.
Sounds a bit like that, doesn't it?
I mean, that's the nightmare scenario.
Always a worry when policy's been led by a bloke called Darren.
Well, you know, well, we tell that to Reform in the North East. But,
Good point.
Digital ID, I just wondered, zooming out a little bit, like, just politically, is this a good idea? Because it doesn't seem to be that popular.
Yes, and it is popular. It polls really well. And do you know what? It polls really well among Reform members as well. Double the number of Reform members want it than don't, which I was really surprised to read. But I don't think this is about playing politics. I don't even think it's about checking whether someone has the right to work. The big thing for me is, can you engage with the state meaningfully? Can you, if you want to, I don't know, get a job and you've got to prove that you work somewhere, all of that stuff, can you do it really easily? Like, you can open a bank account or do all the other things that have moved on. The private sector has come on so far, the government has to catch up. And it's about being able to go into the next election and say, look, this is a very tangible way we've improved your lives.
I want a smaller state than you said. I'll be honest. I want a much smaller state than the one you're talking about. I don't want the...
But it's not about increasing the state. It's about making it easy to engage.
OK, here's the thing. On paper, having a digital ID... you can convince me that sounds like a good idea. When you start talking about who owns the data is when I get worried. When it's someone with a political agenda that owns the data, and we can use a couple of old tropes like what happened during COVID and the Canada truckers, or in China, or not being able to walk out in more than groups of three. That's exactly, though, what could happen. And it comes down to who owns the data, who has access to the data, and what they do with the data. This is why, inherently, I would like a smaller state. I don't want the bank to tell me what to do with my money. I want the bank to keep doing what they do best, which is take my money, make more money than I do from it, and then let me have access to it whenever I want, no matter what I'm buying, and which Eastern European women I want to send it to.
You can sleep easy, regardless of what you do with your money.
That one just washed over me there. What do you make of this? Is it a good thing or not?
I think it's a terrible thing. It's actually quite interesting that there are people on the left who are making basically the same argument, not about sending it to Eastern Europeans, but making the same argument that they basically don't trust future governments to have this kind of power, because you say it's about
what
engaging
power,
with the...
though?
Well, you're saying it's about engaging with the state, but if you have a kind of digital ID, like for the purposes of engaging with the state, we already have a national insurance number. We don't need to have any kind of integrated digital ID, which is the direction that this will inevitably go in. It gives the state far too much oversight over people's lives, and I think that's why there's concern concern from the right and the left. This is not a right and left issue. This is about people's desire to keep the state out of their business.
I just think there's so much misunderstanding in this. There's not going to be this big central database of everybody's darkest secrets. It's the data that already is out there, that already is owned or held by the state. It's owned by us. It's just about joining the dots and making it easier to navigate government and get that information.
All right. Well, I suppose time will tell, won't it, when we're all paying for things with our eyeballs in Tesco's, and that's what we need to, who's laughing now? No one, because obviously our souls would have been crushed. But we're going to go now to Bev Turner, who's in Washington, D.C., talking about a woman whose soul can never be crushed. Bev Turner is in Washington. Yay! What you got for us, Bev?
Thank you, Patrick. Well, we're going to be talking about the digital ID issue as well. We've got Lewis Brackpool on, the journalist who's been doing the most phenomenal deep dive investigations, done a Freedom of Information Act with the government to find out exactly what it is that they are planning. We're going to be talking to Lewis as well. Over here, Donald Trump is going to be landing, not here, but in South Korea in our time. We're going to be seeing another of those meetings over in South Korea. We know that our viewers love to see Donald Trump in action. And we're going to be also talking, of course, we're on storm watch because of the Hurricane Melissa crossing from Jamaica or across Jamaica in our time, as you've said, Patrick, and heading to Cuba. We're going to be bringing you the very latest live pictures from that extraordinary weather event. And behind the scenes at the White House, Ben Leo and I took our families today behind the scenes because it's quiet here in DC, obviously with President Trump being out of the country. So you need to stay tuned for that. Ben got on the Caroline Levitt lectern, as did I. So it's a nice little kind of glimpse behind the scenes of the stuff that you wouldn't normally see on the telly.
Oh, that's absolutely lovely. Well, good stuff, pal. I look forward to that. Thank you very, very much. Bev Turner there will be with you from midnight until 2 a.m. Right, fair bit to go when we come back still. Rachel Reeves has another £20 billion black hole in her budget, supposedly. It's also actually a story I'm becoming increasingly more interested in on the start because I think it's a bit of an everyman story. I personally don't gamble. Put a bet on once, the horse died, thought I wouldn't do it again. But a lot of people do gamble, and apparently you might be paying more than 138% tax on that. The Sun have gone big on it. But, of course, we couldn't let you go. It's the time of the day, isn't it? We need to know, I need to know what Meghan Markle's Christmas candle smells like. Apparently she's going to tell us. Stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Many parts of southern Europe are going to have a fine day tomorrow, albeit there are a few showers here and there. And actually across parts of Portugal and Spain, heavy thundery rain pushing through here. There's the potential for 50 to 100 millimetres of rain in just a day or so, which is around the average for October. But further east, like I said, a lot of dry weather to be had. But worth noting, some showery rain pushing its way eastwards across parts of Cyprus, though this doesn't look especially heavy. More fine weather for most as we go through the end of the week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
OK, welcome back to Late Edition. Well, Rachel Reeves is taking up residency on a couple of newspaper front pages. The Independent's probably the big one, really. Reeves must raise income tax to fill a new gap in the budget. Economists warn that the Chancellor will cause unnecessary damage if she chooses smaller tax increases to balance the books, and this is due to a downgraded forecast, leaving her needing to find an extra £20 billion. OK, so it is. I mean, is this what she should do? Raise income tax? Will be a manifesto.
Absolutely not. I mean, this is so bad. It's not just bad for the country. It's so bad for Labour having come in and they've really sort of dug their own grave on this, because they've come in saying repeatedly, we're not going to tax working people. We're not going to tax working people. And then they did the national insurance hike and they said, no, we're not taxing working people. It's not going to be, you know, when people were saying it's going to be passed on to the workers, they were saying, no, this is not taxing working people. Really hammering home that commitment, and now they're going to tax working people. I mean, it's just, it's bad politics, but it's also going to be absolutely devastating for people who are genuinely struggling to survive with the increasing cost of things.
There is also, I mean, I don't want to jump around too much, but there's that phrase, no tax on working people. It's what you class as a working person, right? Because I would argue as well, the Sun's front page, if you tax... working people gamble as well, don't they? So if you're going to tax them on that, you're taxing a working person, aren't you? So, I mean, are they just kind of letting people down left, right and centre here? When
it's a broad definition of worker, isn't it? Gamblers. I mean, look, we're in budget advent, are we? Every day you wake up and there's a new potential thing that could be taxed. And the reality is we just don't know. We're not going to find out for another month or so. But we do know that the economy is in a tough place. It has been for a long time, and something has to give. And that would be the case whoever was sat in number 11. I don't think gambling is a bad shout, to be honest. It is, a lot of people enjoy it. It can also be really destructive. People get very addicted and have horrible lives as a result of it. Probably not a bad thing to raise a bit of money.
I must say, and I know, look, clearly loads of people gamble. People might be gambling right now, you know, I don't know.
I wonder what they're betting on this.
Oh, well, will he say it?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, will I? You know, gamble.
Yeah.
But that's like, but this is the adverts before the football. What's United?
Oh, yeah, who's going to sponsor Premier League football teams if there isn't any gambling? Look, I'm not going to sit here and defend gambling. I'm from quite a working class background. It's kind of a pastime. I don't know. It's a very good way of taking money from working class people, which is different to working people. It's quite easy to define working people. People who pay tax are working people. So if you're paying tax on your income and Rachel Reeves puts it up, you're going to get stung by Rachel Reeves. It's very simple. And I think that Labour have been quite dense on this. We've spoken about this before, you and I, Patrick. I think that manifestos are made they're timestamped. They made it a period of time. To say at that period of time they were never going to put up income tax was incredibly stupid because they might have needed to. To have invented a black hole that goes up and down based on your actions is even more stupid. This is like stupid squared, stupid cubed. It's just really dense.
Do you think, Seb, that Starmer might be letting her do this budget and she does it, and then realistically she's not necessarily going to be Chancellor that long after it, do you think?
I don't know. He's been quite clear about standing by her, which is the right thing to do. You want to have confidence in your Chancellor, don't you?
Especially if you're going to lose your job if you fire her.
Well, yeah. I mean, the argument for income tax is that it raises a lot of money and you only have to do it once and you get it out the way, and then for the rest of the Parliament you don't have to come back.
And then for 6 generations, everybody remembers that's what you did. If I said poll tax to you now, you'd know exactly who the Prime Minister was and roughly the era in which it came in. If you put up income tax now, during this period when no one's got anything, we are going to remember this. This is the Fabian version of Liz Truss. What Liz Truss attempted to and never achieved. This is what...
That's what I see. So, sorry to cut you guys off. We're only talking about the economy and money that affects everyone and indeed
who cares
of this country. But I've got to press pause because Meghan Markle's got a new candle. Christmas is getting closer, yes, and never want to shy away from publicity. Meghan Markle has released her Christmas collection. It's not very Christmassy, is it? Included in the Christmas collection is a $64 candle inspired by her wedding to Prince Harry. The jokes write themselves. Plus a $90 sparkling wine. One of the candles is scented with Moroccan mint, cardamom and tea leaves, and apparently evokes the freshness of a day in the English countryside.
Moroccan mint?
Moroccan mint!
With your... jam and skirt.
Oh, no, I like going out. Sometimes I used to like going out into the Yorkshire Dales and just breathing in all that Moroccan mint. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it's madness, this, isn't it? I'm a Christian, so therefore I celebrate Christmas. This is not Christmas, is it? I mean, I don't remember the 3 wise men giving out. I'm being fact-checked live in real time. Apparently she doesn't call it the Christmas collection, it's the holiday collection. So it's inclusive. Yeah, of course, and good on her. And I'm a big fan of all of that.
Run through the papers. The Independent's front page. Reeves must raise income tax to fill new gap in budget. The Metro. Terror as a 185-mile-an-hour hurricane hits Jamaica. The I paper. Storm of the century. 185-mile-an-hour hurricane bigger than Katrina. The Telegraph. Council's told to end 4-day weeks. The Guardian. Reeves vows to defy the gloom after £20 billion budget blow. The Daily Mail. Afghan held over murder of dog walker came to the UK in a lorry. The Sun. Save our bets. It's a campaign the Sun are launching apparently to try to stop an increase in tax on bets. The Times. Labour to miss 1.5 million homes target. House builders ward, excuse me. Sorry. The Daily Express. OAPs must be given a fair deal in the budget. Now it's over to Bev Turner.
Thank you, Patrick. Yep, coming to you from Washington, D.C. tonight. We've got 3 live events. Donald Trump landing in South Korea. We're going to be watching the hurricane, and we're going to be watching hundreds of people, gay people, running through Washington, D.C. in high heels. Don't go anywhere.
It's the final week to see how you can become our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Join me, Nana Okwir, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
News channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Wow, coming your way right now is The Late Show Live this evening with the wonderful Bev Turner. And Bev, a couple of tomorrow's newspapers here in Britain anywhere, of course, about that shocking, sadly not shocking story about an illegal Afghan migrant in the back of a lorry who then went on to allegedly kill a man and stab a couple of others. But the other papers are all going off on the big storm. Bigger than Hurricane Katrina, it's thundered into Jamaica, it's heading towards Cuba, and you're going to get some more updates for us, I believe, in your time, I think, aren't you?
That's right, Patrick. This is Hurricane Melissa. We're going to be talking to some weather experts, some meteorologists who are watching this incredibly closely. And as you say, as it moves from Jamaica over to Cuba, we'll be bringing you lots of live footage. And as far as we know, the eye of the storm has moved past Jamaica at the moment, particularly down one side of the coast. But people are just emerging from what's left of their houses. And the leaders of Jamaica were saying to people, this is no time to be brave. Get inside a shelter. But not everybody did. So let's see what the toll has been like on life there. And talks of animals being all over the streets, crocodiles, alligators apparently in the streets. So we will bring you as much information as we can from Jamaica this evening as well and from that storm. We've also got live footage. Donald Trump is on his last day of his Asian tour, so he's going to be landing in South Korea in our time, so we will be watching that as well. Brushing up on my Korean knowledge, Patrick.
Well, OK, well, yes, don't test me. The closest I've come to Korea was a restaurant around the corner from the office. So I think we're all right. But and also, you've been behind the scenes in the White House. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, so obviously things are a little quiet here because of Donald Trump being out of town. So Ben, Leo and I have got our families here. It's half term, of course. So we went and took them behind the scenes of the White House this afternoon, actually. And so we'll bring you all the footage of that as well, as we did. I mean, Ben had these really cute little boys, and I had two very grumpy teenage girls who were not as impressed with me or the place as Ben's children. But yeah, it's worth tuning in to watch that.
I've got all that to look forward to, Bev. Yeah, a few years to go until he'll remember going to the White House. But anyway, over to you, Bev. Take it away. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Of course, very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. This is from DC, The Late Show Live. On The Late Show Live tonight, Hurricane Melissa, the strongest storm in history, is wreaking havoc on Jamaica. We're going to have